Biolab, a student-centered biological research environment where exceptional young people have the freedom to pursue their scientific interests.
My vision in starting Biolab was really to give an opportunity to kids to learn, to succeed, but also importantly, to fail, to learn from their mistakes, to be in an environment that encourages them to take risks, try different things, and learn from that kind of experience how to change the world in the future.
I was talking to my teacher before it started, and I'm like, I don't know how I'm going to do this. I don't know anything about research. I don't know anything about this. And he's like, you'd be surprised at how much you can actually do. And
once I heard about this program, I just jumped right into it. I mean, it sounded so fun just to be a part of an organization like this that I had to try as hard as I could to get into it. So.
Most key and important advances that we'll be making have to do with creative solutions in policy, social solutions, business solutions, technological solutions, and of course solutions in science. And the way to do this is to really stimulate the next generation, next several generations of people to look at these problems in new and creative ways.
before I went there, I was very nervous. I thought, I don't have nearly enough knowledge to be able to get through. I don't know anything. I'm not experienced. I probably will not understand if they try to explain it to me, just because it's all so out there. It's esoteric. You have to be a specialist.
The students here who have this opportunity to participate in biolabs are very fortunate. They're a wonderful group of very talented, exciting young people. And this is going to be an informative event in their life for certain.
We are teaching children how to fail and how to recover from failure. And, particularly today, even compared to when I was in high school, students are very scheduled in terms of what they have to do to get into college, and very low risk kind of situation. And when you go through that, you don't learn how to fail. And you don't learn the importance of failure and learning
I
from it.
found that, no, it's a friendly atmosphere. It's a friendly place. Nobody judges you for being wrong, and more often than not, the science project leads themselves will say, we don't know what the outcome of this experiment is. You better do it and find out. And if you make a mistake, well, then that's just a learning experience for you.
We're answering questions that haven't been answered before, and I found that just fascinating. Most of the time you have a textbook and you flip to the back and everything you need to know is right there.
Community is super important. You're talking about kids who are teenagers, so they may or may not discover something really important in their first couple of years. But what they can carry with them for the rest of their lives is the contacts that they make with other people who are like-minded.
We're a very mixed group. I'm really surprised. They did a really good job getting a good mix.
This is not only one of the most intelligent groups of people that I've been able to work with, but it's also, this intelligence is of a diverse range. I don't have one type of intelligence I'm working with. I mean, it's such a broad range, and I think that diversity has almost brought us closer together as a group.
At school, I don't get a chance to work much with people whom I share something with whom I share a vision, with whom I share my curiosity.
And it's so fun and in-depth, most definitely.
I was told that we would be running it, and that was pretty much it. I didn't really know much more until I came to the workshop and we asked Edward all these questions, and he was just like, well, you guys are deciding that. And I'm like, okay, we'll be busy.
The goal here is to give these kids several different kinds of opportunities. One is not just to learn the science, but to give them the creative juice, to learn the entrepreneurship and to ask questions that are not confined by the rigors of science, but also are things like, can I file for a patent? Can I build an organization around this? Can I do a company? And give them the resources to learn all of that.
We're making a set of rules that we follow instead of giving a set of rules to follow. I think after the staff felt comfortable that we could perform the lab procedures by ourselves, they let us do it and let us make mistakes.
In the first meeting we had, kids came up with the idea of a mobile lab that you'd put in like a little van and you could take to these schools, and you could show kids at the schools, what you're doing and kind of bring them into the fold that way. So they're very interested in kind of spreading the word that way through their peers.
It was my achievement. It wasn't something out of a book that was taught to me. It was my achievement.
I think one of the greatest strengths that they did was to make all the mentors available to us.
Right, but it's almost like, I'm talking to a peer. He's been very patient, very helpful, and he's been able to answer questions.
That there are so many resources I could turn to if I didn't understand. And it just, the confidence built up, and then my experiments began working too. And so that was good.
What we're hoping is that the kids will take over a lot of that training with programs of their own and build a mentoring environment, because I think kids mentoring other kids will be quite a very, very fascinating thing to see.
Sometimes at school, like, if you don't understand, it's almost like you feel like that's your problem. And if you have to go get help all the time, it's just, here it's a different feeling. They encourage you to learn and they help you do it, but it's not like they're doing the work for you. And they realize that some of the stuff we might want to do is going to be pretty difficult, and it's going to take a lot of work, and we're going to need help.
The kids themselves are very interested in taking this stuff back to their schools and showing their friends, and showing how cool it is. And in fact, it's, the great untapped resource is kids' cool factor. We'll be able to make this kind of science and this kind of entrepreneurship really cool. Kids will be able to go back to their school and say, here's what I'm doing, isn't that cool? Which will generate more interest.
You can get away with not understanding at school. That's what I found out. But here, no, you actually have to think about it. A purpose for every single day of the experiment, for every single thing you do. If you pipette something, you better know why you're doing it. You write it down in your lab notebook. Purpose, method, and why, basically. Why is the big question.
I would come home tired just from thinking all day, but already I'm anticipating the next day of Biolab. And with school, it's so different.
When you look at humans as a race, right, the big problems we face, really threatening problems, are things like how will we feed ourselves, how will we manage our waste, how will we keep the ecology healthy, how manage our own genetics, infectious disease. The big problems really are problems having to do with biology in the broad sense. And then you ask yourself, how will you solve them? We need truly creative, entrepreneurial thinking, and a whole generation of them to solve these problems. Who are going to be the great scientists, political leaders, social leaders, business leaders of the next generation? I think it's really important to note that this is something, because this is something that is a community goal, this is a goal for humanity, the community really needs to get involved in it. When I mean the community, it's the media, it's the entrepreneurs, it's the people in the financial community, it's potential donors, it's people who are in the teaching area, and so on and so forth. Because we really need to make this something very inclusive and something big. The evolution of Biolab will be fascinating to watch. I really take a long-term view on this. These are 20 to 40-year problems when I look at these biotechnology problems.
Time, I'm really frustrated about that, just because I wish I could be there longer.